I never believed a joke could destroy a marriage. Not a cruel one, just a careless, impulsive comment that slipped out and landed between us like a bomb. My name is Laura, and I was married to Daniel for 8 years. We weren't perfect, but we were stable. Or at least that's what I kept telling myself. Daniel was quietly confident, not flashy, not loud. He showed up. He paid the bills. He fixed things without being asked. His friends liked to tease him, calling him boring. I always defended him. I said boring meant safe, dependable, mature, and I meant it. Until one night, I didn't. It was a backyard barbecue at Ryan's house, one of Daniel's closest friends. Drinks were flowing, music was loud. Ryan had just come back from the gym, shirt off, soaking in the attention. Someone joked about how built he looked. I laughed and said, "Well, he's definitely bigger than Daniel." The words barely left my mouth before I knew I'd crossed a line. A few people laughed. Most didn't. I rushed to explain. I meant muscles, obviously. Daniel didn't laugh at all. He looked at me like I was a stranger. The pause was thick and uncomfortable. Then Daniel gave a tight, polite smile and asked, "How would you know?" The conversation died instantly. Someone cleared their throat. Ryan looked away. My heart started racing. I muttered something about jokes, about people being too sensitive. Daniel nodded, took a sip of his drink, and changed the subject. On the drive home, the silence stretched endlessly. I waited for him to yell. He didn't. Inside the house, he placed his keys down carefully and asked me to sit. His voice was calm, which somehow made it worse. He said, "Explain the joke." I tried to laugh it off. He didn't smile. Embarrassed and defensive, I doubled down. I said it wasn't a big deal. That men joke like that all the time. That he was overreacting. Something shifted in his eyes. Not anger, disappointment. He said, "I've spent 8 years making sure you felt respected. Tonight, you made me the joke." I had no response. Over the next few days, Daniel grew distant, not sulking, just absent. He still came home, still handled responsibilities, but the warmth was gone. I apologized, real apologies. He listened. He said he appreciated them. Nothing changed. I started noticing everything I'd taken for granted, how he used to ask about my day. How he'd sit next to me instead of across the room. How the small touches had slowly vanished. That's when I realized respect isn't loud. It's quiet, steady, and fragile. When it cracks, it doesn't explode. It erodes slowly, piece by piece, until one day you reach for it and feel nothing there. One night, I asked what he was thinking. He said, "I keep replaying that moment, not the joke." I asked what he meant. He said, "I don't feel safe being vulnerable with you anymore." That word safe hit harder than any insult. I wanted to argue, but I stopped. He explained that the joke didn't just embarrass him. It confirmed a fear he'd carried silently, that I didn't truly respect him, that I saw him as less. I cried that night, not only because I hurt him, but because I recognized myself in his words. I'd been careless with his dignity, I'd mistaken comfort for permission, and I didn't know how to undo it. The silence between us felt heavier than any argument we'd ever survived. The breaking point didn't come with a fight. It came with a quiet realization. A week after the barbecue, Daniel asked me to take a walk with him. No phones, no distractions, just us, like we used to do when something felt wrong. We walked 3 blocks before he spoke. He said he'd been thinking about that night, but not in the way I expected. He wasn't focused on Ryan or the joke itself. He was focused on what came after, how quickly I dismissed his discomfort, how easily I chose being right over being kind. Then he said something I'll never forget. The joke didn't make me feel small. What happened after did. I stopped walking. I wanted to defend myself again, but for the first time, I didn't. I listened. Daniel explained that respect, once damaged, doesn't heal with apologies alone. It heals with changed behavior, with time, and sometimes with distance. That word again, distance. I asked if he was thinking about leaving. He paused, then said he was trying to decide whether staying meant losing himself. That night, I lay awake replaying our marriage. Every eye roll, every sarcastic comment masked his humor. Every moment I assumed he'd just accept it. I saw a pattern, not cruelty, but carelessness. And I learned that carelessness can be just as destructive. 2 days later, Daniel packed a bag. He said he wasn't leaving forever. He just needed space to think without feeling judged. I didn't beg. I didn't argue. I hugged him and told him I understood. That was one of the hardest things I've ever done. The apartment felt empty without him. I kept reaching for my phone to text him meaningless things, then stopping. Instead, I started writing, not messages, but honest notes to myself about why I'd made that joke, about insecurity, about wanting approval, about how easy it is to betray someone quietly. When Daniel came back a week later, he looked lighter, calmer. He told me he wasn't angry anymore, but anger wasn't the issue. Trust was. He said he needed to know if I could truly see him as an equal again, not as someone safe to mock. We started counseling, real counseling. Uncomfortable talks, long silences, accountability without excuses. I learned to sit with shame instead of deflecting it. Daniel learned to speak up sooner instead of storing pain away. Progress was slow, but it was real. Months later, he admitted something that surprised me. He said the joke forced him to face something he'd avoided for years. That he'd allowed small acts of disrespect because he feared conflict. In a strange way, my mistake became a mirror for both of us. Not every story like this ends the same. Some jokes end marriages. Sometimes silence causes more damage than words ever could. We didn't fix everything overnight. But we chose awareness over denial. Some lessons arrived gently, others hit hard. All of them demand honesty. Today, when I think back to that night, I don't cringe at the joke anymore. I cringe at how easily I dismissed the man I loved. Respect isn't about never messing up. It's about what you do the moment you realize you've crossed a line.